Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why Big Ben's legacy could be on the line this weekend.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why people need to stop blaming Lonzo for his crazy dad.
People, that's me.
Speak for yourself starts now.
Who else do you blame?
Crazy dads have to take care of crazy dads.
I had a crazy dad. You got to put him down sometimes. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by an NFL legend, Ray Lewis, and Colin's co-host on The Herd, Christine Leahy. Let's start with Tom Brady, who is set to release a documentary series this month on Facebook called Tom vs. Time, giving the filmmakers unfettered access to his personal life and chronicling his quest to win another Super Bowl. Let's take a look.
There's a warrior spirit about me. I'm always in competition with myself.
You know, I have to say, I don't think I've ever met anyone that loves to do something as much as he loves football.
You don't want to make sacrifices for your sport, but when you have a family, you do.
When I see myself out there, I feel like, man, I still do this and I do it better than I've ever done it. So why should I stop?
Sounds like a great documentary to watch while you're getting a massage. I love that background. All right, it looks riveting. But as the New York Times reports, quote, it is unclear if Brady has ever told his coaches about the project. The Patriots spokesperson, Stacey James, said the team was nominally aware that Brady was making a documentary. Cowherd, given what we know about the rift between Belichick, Brady, and Kraft, should Belichick be bothered by this?
No, I think it's a personal project. I think what Tom's doing, and he's been doing it for a year and a half, he passed on most of these endorsements for years. Then in the last year and a half, we all went, man, Tom's doing a lot of like pajamas and mattresses. Tom's cashing in. Tom's cashing in. Tom's moving to the next stage of his career. In baseball, they call these a farewell tour, where you get the last year, Cal Ripken, you know, they get all the gifts. This is what Tom's doing. For years, he just did one Visa commercial. Now it's everything, and I think this is part of it, TB12.
So if I'm Bill Belichick and everything about me and the culture that I had set up in New England was about football, and I was obsessed with football, and I thought I was in this partnership with a quarterback who was just as obsessed with just making it about football, why wouldn't I be bothered? He's clearly pivoted to something else. He's now, TB12. Alex Ono, the guru, the trainer friend. He's not just about football. So if I'm Bill Belichick, I'm bothered. Tom Brady has evolved into something different than what Bill Belichick thought he had signed up for.
You really think they're partners?
Yeah, they were for.
I don't think they were ever
football.
Partners. I think that Bill Belichick treated him like he treated every other person in that locker room, and I don't think they were very close at all. I didn't know that it was to this much dislike, but I don't think that they were ever close. And I believe that this is perfect timing for Brady to release something like this because we're already talking about Alex Guerrero and, hey, what goes on behind the scenes. This is great. All the marketing is done for him.
Yeah, I tell you what, most time when guys get to the end of their careers, right, it's the behind the scenes that they want to show. Everybody's talking about how long Tom is going to play. When you start to unveil what really drives you, like as a competitor, of coming home every day to this one thing, which is family that keeps them together and why you keep going. And then he says something that every great one competes with themselves. Mm-hmm. Every great ones. But when you get to this point, the reason why I don't think it's a problem for Bill Belichick, and it shouldn't be a problem for nobody, is the only thing that he's showing now is what the camera's never shown. Because all you do is see Sundays. You see Sundays, right? Tom fiery at practice. Tom's fiery on the sidelines. But nobody's ever saw Tom's life. So Tom has been recording these moments, right? These moments ain't been recorded in the last 30 days.
Yeah, they've already happened.
They already
put a
happened.
Camera on.
Absolutely, yeah.
By the way, okay, so you're bothered by...
I said Belichick.
Okay, so Belichick, well, you kind of seemed agitated.
A little bit. He's changed. He has pivoted.
Who's changed?
Tom Brady. Look, he's got this Instagram post out there talking about, I am the storm. Tom Brady was always the... What happened to we are the storm? There's no I in team.
Oh, okay, by the way, so are you bothered by this? A year ago, Mr. Belichick All Football's got a magazine cover. He's got Nantucket Magazine. Boy, he took a day away from football to pose with his girlfriend.
And I bet you he didn't warn Robert Kraft that he was going to.
Surely that was in the offseason.
It was right before they
damn
faced the
well
Steelers.
It wasn't going on during the football season.
He's got to start getting ready. They're already behind because they were playing in the Super Bowl.
By the way, if you are, I haven't seen this Tom versus time thing, but I bet a lot of it's just a camera on his workouts. People like that stuff.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's nothing detrimental to the team at all.
Again, I'm not saying the documentary in itself is bad. I'm saying it represents a pivot for Tom Brady, a guy who used to be all about football, and now, again, a guy that I think, it happens. Fame is the strongest drug the world has ever produced.
It is.
It changes everybody. And Tom Brady is changing right before our eyes. Again, next thing you know, he'll be taking selfies again. If this were OBJ or Antonio Brown doing Facebook Live, people would be very comfortable criticizing it. I get that Brady has 5 Super Bowls. He gets played by a different set of rules. But he is changing. He's becoming a bit more Hollywood.
All right, to New York, where the Daily News is reporting that one of Belichick's assistants, defensive coordinator Matt Patricia, is the front-runner to be the New York Giants head coach. The team's search also included an interview with the Patriots' offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, who's met with 3 teams already, almost sure to get a head coaching job himself. All despite the fact that Belichick's assistants, including Josh, have been less than stellar as head coaches. Sub-500 record, only 3 playoff appearances between all of them. Whitlock, should teams be leery of hiring Belichick assistants?
1,000%. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. We see what happens with Belichick assistants when they go off on their own. It's like Samson losing his hair or me losing a chicken McNugget. I'm a different person. And so I just don't. If I'm the Giants and I could have virtually any coach I wanted, probably other than Belichick or Nick Saban or, guys that can call their own shot, why are you going to the tree that doesn't produce great fruit? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, one of the things I learned as a kid, because I saw it happen to the universities I loved, proximity to brilliance doesn't equal brilliance. I mean, we've all seen, like, Bill Clinton, and then you see his brother. He's not quite Bill Clinton. Like, we've seen this before with our presidents and our top minds. Is the brother, the sister, isn't what you think. And, I mean, I look at it, and there's a lot of decisions in football. Not just, like, the game plan and film, but operations and running a franchise. When you're a head coach, you got to take care of everything. Let's say there's 60 decisions a day for a head football coach. Let's say there's 30 for a coordinator. All it takes is to make the wrong decision twice a day. That's times 7, 14 a week, times 4, 48 bad decisions a month. Over the course of a year, it's 600 decisions, right? So my point being is...
He's 64, but continue.
My math is crappy.
Yeah.
But the point is, once you have to make all those decisions as head coach, only takes a couple of bad decisions a day, and it becomes 600 bad decisions a year. And Ben McAdoo suddenly, after about a year of them, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, a bunch of coaches are great coaches, but there's not too many alphas. Bill Belichick is an alpha, right? And so when you start to come away from that and you leave there, you try to go to these different places and you try to make this thing work like Belichick once made it work. But you're not Belichick. And that's probably where and I've watched not only guys come from Belichick up under him, but guys that leaves other great minds.
Right.
That when they go other places, it's just never the same. Players are the same thing. You can have a player up under great players, but when they go elsewhere, it's just not the same. And that's because it takes a certain type of alpha to run the Patriots program like Bill Belichick to run the Patriots program.
It's a combination of that and that type of alpha also has to have control.
100%.
And the only way that you can have control is if the people underneath you are not as valuable. You almost have to devalue them or make sure that they're not as important so that they're relying so heavily on you that you know that you have control over
That's
them.
an interesting point, but I'm not 1,000% sure I agree because
He would never hire someone that could threaten him or who would challenge him.
Bill Parcells hired Belichick.
There's an exception.
And we've seen guys come off of Tony Dungy's tree.
Nick Saban's
guys
hired
coming off of Bill Walsh's tree. Or guys coming off. We've seen. I'm not refuting your point because it's fascinating. I really need to think about it. But that may be a flaw in the Belichick system or scheme that others don't have.
What might be the flaw?
But he has to make sure.
He
has to make sure that he is more important to them than they are to him.
Couldn't I argue that all of Belichick's assistants, they just don't have Tom Brady? How good was Belichick without Tom Brady?
No. I'm going to go back. Because, look, Bill Parcells, Bill Parcells didn't win any Super Bowls without Belichick. Belichick's been great every place except for Cleveland. And, again, I'm not diminishing Tom Brady. But Bill Belichick is a great coach, and I think the evidence of it is how his assistants struggle.
There's a difference between great and having to have control. I think you can be a great coach without being a control freak.
That's very true. And that's why I go back to listen, that's why I keep going to the alpha thing, because you have to, there are certain personalities that can run teams and have success running teams, right? There's guys who's organizers that can come in there and, hey, give great rah-rah-rah speeches, and they're good with paperwork. And then there's football coaches like Bill Belichick. And it's hard to follow that.
Here's what I would say, and I really like your point, but I think sometimes you don't develop fully when you're working with greatness because Belichick makes it so easy. If the head coach comes in and provides all the answers, or a lot of the answers, I saw it. Marty Schottenheimer was an excellent football coach, football coach. And he had an assistant named Gunther Cunningham that worked as a defensive coordinator for him that was great when Marty was there overseeing what he was doing and helping him. Once Gunther got out kind of on his own, without Marty or whatever, and so when someone else, again, we had a little funny thing of comparing this to the Jackson 5. Tito, Marlon, everybody sounded good when Michael was out there, the lead singer, and Michael made it easy. He was so entertaining.
Well, in the corporate world, we've all worked in the corporate world. Certainly, Jason, you and Christine and I have. Ray, you were playing football, but that's corporation. In the corporate world, you often elevate the best salesperson gets elevated to management. But what makes a great salesman doesn't necessarily make a great manager. Right. Salesmen are energy, high five, steak tonight, drinks with you, hanging out. A manager, I need a grown-up who goes to bed early. So sometimes what makes a great coordinator, a crazy intense guy that can relate to Ray Lewis, he gets the head job and Ray's, it's not the same thing. I got to relate to everybody, not just Ray.
All right, welcome back. Ray Lewis is back, and we're joined now by Fox NFL football analyst Greg Jennings. Let's move to Pittsburgh, where the Steelers host the Jaguars in Sunday's divisional round. Big Ben has been calling publicly for this rematch, looking for some redemption after that 5-pick game back in October. Had the QB admitting he might not have it anymore. Well, yesterday, Jags corner A.J. Bowie told Ben to be careful what he wished for, while Jalen Ramsey took a shot of his own.
I would want to play us again, too. I mean, he threw 5 picks, was contemplating retiring, whether he had it or not. After playing us, they had a good season after our game. I would want to play us again, too. But at the same time, sometimes you got to be careful what you ask for. So we'll see Big Ben and the Steelers on Sunday, and we'll see what they have to say.
All right, for 15 years, Big Ben's been my favorite quarterback in the league. I honestly think that if they lose this game, this year puts a ding on his legacy. I think he backs up a little bit. Do you think his legacy in any way is on the line this weekend?
Against the Jags?
If they lose this game, he cost them home field advantage. This is a bad year for Big Ben. And this is
Time out.
Hey, Ben, I'm going to call you man. You got to stop this.
In 25 years, I'm having a beer with a buddy. And he's like, what do you make of Big Ben? I'm like, I liked him, but he lost that Jags game. So he's Kirk Cousins.
No, I'm not saying. I had Big Ben a cut below Brady.
And you think this game's going to change it?
Because one, I think this is really his last shot. I don't think he ever gets that third Super Bowl.
You think he's retiring?
No, not retired. I just think this is his last best shot. He cost him home field advantage. He's had a bad season.
I love you.
I know.
That's the dumbest thing you've ever said. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. LeBron James came out a week ago, and he lost to Utah.
Hold it. You just don't compare Big Ben to LeBron James.
They're both all-timers. They're both great. Time out. Let me run this tape. A week ago, a reporter went up to LeBron, and he said to him, you just lost to Utah for the 8th straight time. Here's what LeBron said.
Yeah, I don't think at the end of my career people are going to say, LeBron did some great things, but he lost 8 in a row versus Jazz.
You come on. Ben's a Hall of Famer.
Hold it. You're talking about a regular season losing streak. You think losing to the Spurs in the NBA Finals didn't put a ding on LeBron's legacy and there's another reason why he can't catch Jordan?
I didn't even know he lost to the Spurs. Doesn't mean anything. LeBron losing to the Warriors 8 straight times, not going to help it, but...
You didn't know LeBron James lost
you guys
to
talk
the
about
Spurs.
this, and maybe I'm just lost. You tell me, do you think less of him?
No, initially, I had the same exact reaction as you, and I still feel strongly like,
I
what?
still feel good about what I'm... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But,
Call your mom.
She's watching.
I will say this.
Yeah.
When it comes to what Big Ben has asked for and has requested, and then what he said after losing to these guys, and what he asked for, I want the Jags again. In their mind, anytime you've knocked somebody down and you hear them pretty much almost surrendering and giving up, I got your number, homie. I got you. And then now you want me again? I don't fear you. You put no fear in me whatsoever. So to your point, I think their window of winning will continue to shrink. Let me tell you something. We always look at it as a window. It's never a window until you create the window, until you open the window up. But it's a crease that you have, and the more you win, the more that window expands. But once you've lost a game like this, yes, it could shrink that window really quick.
Ray.
No, listen.
You faced him many times.
No, this game does nothing for Ben's legacy. Now, what it does do is it tells this old lion that's been on top of this hill a long time, there's a new lion that just came in and walking the Serengeti now. And I'm roaring that I'm on my way to see you. And that's what the Jacksonville Jaguars are saying. Be careful what you ask for. Let me tell you something. I watched these guys on tape. When you talk about physical at all aspects of the game, the best defense probably going in this game this weekend is probably the Jacksonville Jaguars. So all I'm telling you is, I've played.
Okay, so let's say he loses. Let's say it's 24-17. It's a heck of a game. He gets sacked 4 times, 1 pick.
He threw 5 last time, and he's playing with the best secondary.
You think he's going to throw?
He could.
He could.
Based off this year, what we've seen from Big Ben. Colin, here's what I'm saying. To me, Big Ben had a chance to be a top 5 quarterback all time. He had a chance. He gets a 3rd Super Bowl. I could put together the argument because I don't go for all this stuff that everybody else does. To me, it's about which quarterback could dominate and play in any era of football.
Okay.
And that's why I've always loved Big Ben, and that's why I think John Elway is the greatest, God rest his playing career.
Okay.
Now, Big Ben, if he loses, never gets to a 3rd Super Bowl. To me, he's been diminished. He's not going to reach his full potential. And that's, I think, when I look back at this year, this is the year. He talked about retiring this year before the season. Then he comes back, and he turns out to be the problem, not Mike Tomlin. He's the guy that blows the thing,
20 years from today at a bar, I'm going to be talking about Calais Campbell winning a playoff game.
Right. You won't, but people like me that sit around and write and think about who's the greatest quarterback of all time, I'll be holding this against
I'm just saying, maybe you went a little bit too far saying his career is on the line.
I didn't say his career was on the line.
His legacy.
Will take a ding. It'll back up a little bit.
No way. Come on.
I love the dude. He played in the Mid-American Conference.
Okay,
Ben is the ultimate warrior.
Springsteen comes out with a new album, Subpar. Born in the USA don't count?
You keep comparing Ben to the all-time greats. He hasn't proven that.
Of course he's an all-time great.
He hasn't proven that.
He's a top 20 quarterback ever. Well, depending on what happens this weekend.
You're absolutely right.
Welcome back, Ray Lewis, Greg Jennings, and Whitlock. Let's move to Nick Saban. Fresh off his 5th national championship in 9 years, he had another one at LSU, prompting another round of speculation about whether the Bama coach will take another shot at the NFL. Yesterday, former Cardinals coach Bruce Arians joined me in the herd and said, hey, it's a possibility.
Everybody always asks, why doesn't he go to the NFL? Do you think he's considering it?
It would not surprise me. You know, and there's a job he covets. It just happens to be open. And but he's got a dynasty right now, another dynamite recruiting class. Why he would do it, I don't know, but it would not shock me if he did.
What job?
The Giants.
Why the New York Giants?
Because they're the New York Giants. And when we grew up, they were the thing.
Whitlock, does Saban need success in the NFL to be in that hollowed hall of all-time great football coaches?
No, absolutely not. It's the equivalent of arguing that bacon and eggs, in order to be considered a great meal, has to work at dinner time as well. It does. Bacon and eggs is just great. Nick Saban is a great coach at the college football level, the best we possibly have ever seen. Of course he's an all-time great.
Well, he gets to play Mercer every year, and he gets a couple of buys, and he gets to,
Belichick gets to play the Jets and the Bills.
Those are pro teams.
Yeah, I get it.
With
They're not
NFL
very good.
Dolphins.
And the
By
Dolphins.
the way, here's my thing. Nobody ever said, greatest coaches ever, Lombardi, Woody Hayes.
No, they say Bear Bryant.
They don't put Bear Bryant in Belichick's class. Who's putting
Bear Bryant, until Nick Saban, was the greatest coach of
college.
That
was all we knew.
That's all we knew.
That's all we knew.
That's all we knew.
What do you mean all you knew?
That's all we.
That's
Bear
all we
Bryant.
Bear Bryant.
Until Nick Saban.
Absolutely. Come on now.
Come on. College is built for dynasties. That's why women's basketball, dynasty.
You can't compare.
Men's hockey. Every single college sport right now has a dynasty.
Come back.
Every college sport has one.
Come back. Go ahead.
Pro sports never get. It's hard.
No, the Patriots are on a dynasty. No, you're right. That never happens. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Chuck Noll, they weren't a dynasty.
Cut it out, guys.
Bill Walsh wasn't a dynasty.
I'm going to get a minute.
Look,
go ahead.
Look, Nick are we talking about Nick Saban? Yes. Will we continue to talk about Nick Saban? Yes. Why does he need to even think or consider making a shift? If you think about how hard it is to win at the pro level, and you're Bill Belichick, it's hard enough to try to get a winning season, let alone to create what the Patriots have created and what Nick Saban has created in college football. Stay where you are. He's made college football more entertaining. It may be boring to most, but on his side,
if I said two best coaches in the whole world of football, who would they be to you?
Best coaches in the whole world of football?
Right now or all time?
No, right now in the world. Who are the two best coaches?
Saban and Belichick.
Okay, I don't believe that.
They're both on top.
Who's your two, Colin?
Jim Harbaugh.
I would say
Jim Harbaugh.
I would say Belichick and Sean Payton. I think it's harder to win in the NFL. They're all pros. No Mercer.
It's hard to win.
It is.
Yeah, thank you. People think winning is just easy.
It's really hard to win. And if you go to the last 3 national championships that Nick Saban has been in, and if one play goes different, he loses 3. He loses 3. Deshaun Watson was that close to going. Yeah, and so now you have to ask yourself, and no, go back to Monday night. If 24 does his job,
yeah.
It just does his
job.
job.
I'm not denying. Listen, I think Nick's the best college coach I've ever seen. Monday, there were 8 things that didn't go his way, and he won. I'm just saying college done. Wait, okay.
Colin, you're talking about herding 18-year-old cats. That's what he's doing. Children. That he's hurt. And have you seen this generation of children and what they're addicted to, social media and all this other stuff? And Nick Saban is unbending. He's old school, and these children are submitting to his will year after year.
What if Calipari won the next 3 titles? Is he the best basketball coach in the world?
College basketball is completely different now because of one and done and all that other stuff. And again, it's hard to win, but it's hard. College basketball has pretty much remained the same for the last 100 years, other than integration. And Nick Saban is doing it.
His culture on what he produces, when you see the games that Nick is coaching and the kids that he's coaching, they are grown men when they get to the National Football League. You're talking about from a professional level, knowing what it means to be on time, in meetings. I mean, I want you to go back and think about how many times we've heard of Nick Saban players really being in something outside.
Absolutely.
That happens.
But it does. But I'm talking about winning.
You make a great point about in this society that we're living in with these young people and social media being so prevalent, all these recruits want to go and play with this closed-fist head coach who they know a lot of these things that they could get away with anywhere else.
They're not getting away
They're not going to get away with.
They're not.
But they'll do it because they have an opportunity to get better, and their chances of winning
and going to the league
and getting to the next level.
That's what he's producing.
As crazy as he thought my Big Ben take was, dissing Nick Saban.
You wait time out.
After his 6th national championship.
You wait time out. Dissing it.
Yeah,
the question is, does Nick Saban need NFL success to be an all-time great? The all-time greats are Jimmy Johnson. He won a Super Bowl.
So you think he needs it?
I think great college coaches are great college coaches.
But that's what that's what. Why would he need NFL success to be great?
Because I think winning college is built for dynasties. USC always has the best players out west. I mean, it's called USC.
No. Look,
Duke always gets the best players.
Dude, we just talked before the show. USC ain't even going to be in the top 20 this year.
That's speculation.
So don't even give me that. And so, you know the hardest thing to do? Sustain dominance.
100%.
Sustain. And I don't want to, because Jimmy Johnson, awesome coach. Awesome. But again, sustaining dominance.
You know why he didn't sustain college dominance? Because he wanted to go to the NFL and dominate that. That's what you can't blame Jimmy. Jimmy's
I'm not blaming Jimmy.
And you can't blame Nick either for staying there.
No, it's a good job. He's done well for himself. Welcome back, Christine Leahy. He's here, and we're now joined by the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to the Lakers. They're interesting, not good, but interesting. Got a win over the Kings last night, despite more drama the past week from LeVar Ball, who
they showed the shot he made.
Yeah, who claimed that the team doesn't want to play for Coach Luke Walton. Walton says he's done talking about Lonzo's dad, but the point guard has yet to really distance himself from his father's comments. Whitlock, does Lonzo Ball actually deserve blame for failing to shut down his dad and the LeVar circus?
1,000%. If Lonzo would stand up here as a 20-year-old grown man who started his profession and told his father to cut it out, and if his father wouldn't cut it out, say, hey, look, we're going to have to separate my professional life from my personal life with you. All the credibility comes out of LeVar's words and mouths, anything he has to say about the Lakers, if Lonzo would draw that line in the sand. Kids, young people, young adults have to do this. And it's unfortunate that at 20 years old, he has to do this. I saw LeBron James do it with his mother, and people didn't like it, but it was the right thing to do. When you start a profession, whether you're 20 years old or 40 years old, there needs to be boundaries set up if people are out of their role and what they should be doing. Lonzo Ball is, to me, there's a lot of pressure being put on Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka. The pressure needs to be on the 20-year-old kid. It's his profession. He needs to move his dad to the side.
I'm shocked that the Lakers are struggling with this. I said this today. Every high school basketball coach in America has got 8 dads chirping in their ear. And they go to the dinner at the local Applebee's, and the dads are in the, my son should play more. Luke Walton makes $5 million a year. He's an NBA coach, and he can't handle goofball LeVar Ball saying, I think the team's kind of doesn't trust Luke. Well, they don't, because 2 weeks ago they held a team meeting saying, we got chemistry issues. If the Lakers can't handle goofy LeVar Ball, look what the Patriots are going through. They got owner, star,
and you think
LeVar
no one's
Ball,
trying to manage that situation?
I'm saying dads should be responsible for dads, A, and who cares what LeVar Ball said? Who buys LeVar Ball? There was about an hour he was interesting. Since then, he's a goofball.
Who cares what he says? We talk about him all the time. So clearly a lot of people care exactly what he says. And I agree partially with you, Jason, but the thing is you can't control anyone but yourself. So as much as Lonzo could try or ask his dad to be quiet, I don't think it's going to happen. He's a grown man. LeVar is not going to change. This is who he is. The only thing that Lonzo can do is distance himself from his father. And he is in the NBA now. He is an adult. He can choose to say, you know, the things that are detrimental to myself and to the team, I'm going to have to part ways with you on that. I would like him to stop wearing the stay-in-your-lane shirts, for example. But otherwise, there's nothing he's going to do. LeVar's not going to change.
I mean,
I think Lonzo's really putting his teammates in a poor situation because they're having to answer questions about the dad, too.
Well, that part I would put on Magic Johnson. He needs to step up. But Regarding Lonzo, I think you're right. You know, he should do something, but the problem is LeVar's not rational. He's not like Gloria James, who's going to listen. This is a guy who came out and said, I could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one in my prime, and my son's better than Steph Curry, who was a 2-time MVP. LeVar's not a rational human being. He's not going to listen. And for Lonzo to do that, remember, his mom had the health scare last year. His 2 brothers have been pulled out of school. Their family's going through a lot. I think it would be a little divisive for Lonzo to step up to his dad. And Whitlock, let me leave you with this one. A week ago, after a national TV loss by 37 to the Thunder, Kyle Kuzma said, we quit. I mean, at some point, the question's got to come to Luke Walton. Wait a sec. One of your players said you guys quit. Maybe this isn't about LeVar, as Colin's saying, maybe something's wrong with Luke.
Again, that's a side subject. Players speaking out and saying we quit, blah, blah, that happens. That's standard operating procedure. Kyle Kuzma has sweat in the game. I'm not remotely, and I don't think Christine is either, I want to be clear here, we're not telling the guy to leave his dad alone. We're talking about drawing a line. I have my professional life. Dad, you need to stay out of it. And I'm leaving you out of it. And then once he does that, and again, they can have their personal life and family life and all that other stuff, but you can clearly tell your parents, stay out of my profession. And then once he does that and lets everybody know, my father is no longer a part of my professional career, then LeVar's words don't have any credibility anymore, and it's much easier to just ignore them. But when their father and son seem so tied together and it sounds like LeVar is speaking for the son, it creates a problem. And if I'm Luke Walton, Rob Pelinka, Magic Johnson, and I'm trying to run my team and trying to create chemistry and develop these young people, I want LeVar's words not to have credibility.
Well, let me ask you this. What if you do that and he doesn't listen to you?
Well, he doesn't have credibility.
Because he doesn't have credibility. Once your son...
No, if Lonzo says, Dad, over there, me here, and then Dad a week later says something else.
His words have a lot less credibility because the standard has been set. I'm not talking to my dad about what's going on with the team. He's not involved with me in the Los Angeles Lakers. Now he's just a crank father running his mouth without information, and it's a lot easier to ignore.
But LeVar's still going to talk to the media.
Absolutely. No, LeVar is about LeVar. There's only one individual that LeVar Ball really cares about, and one, and his name's LeVar. Everybody else is just a tool to hype LeVar.
Okay, so then what do the brothers do? Do they side with the father or then do they side with Lonzo? I mean,
I could care less about that. I'm talking about what
but Lonzo probably cares. It's his family, you know?
But again, there are tough decisions to make. Others have made him. He's not. This is Hollywood. This goes on with Hollywood kids and parents all the time. People have to make these tough decisions.
But that's why I think, like, leaders are supposed to be honest with themselves. And Magic Johnson's the leader of the franchise. He needs to step up, not Lonzo. He's not even the leader of the team.
He has tried to step up, but sometimes, again, Lonzo's a 20-year-old grown man. Look, I guarantee you, Magic, just like me, I've had uncomfortable conversations with my parents about my career because I've had a public career. And don't say that. Why? Don't answer that phone call, blah, blah. It has to be done. Grow up.